Have you got yourself a tarp but don't know what to do with it? Well, let me show you a few of my favourite setups. You're always going to want to put your tarp down flat. It just gives you a great base to start from. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a plough point. I'm going to do this one widthways just because I've got a great size tarp for this one. But depending on the size of tarp that you have, you can do this one lengthways. A plough point is a really good base. You can do it in any forestry area where you've got somewhere where you can pin the main point off. If you want an easier job, you can just use a tree hugger for this one. But myself over here, I have 2 extendable knots just here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap one around here, one through the other. And then I'm just going to come over here to my tarp. And I've got some lovely clips just on the end of there. And I'm going to do that and just tighten that knot down so you can see it's nice and strong there. Then I'm going to get myself a few pegs and I'm going to peg it out either side. So because my tarp's so big, I can obviously pin it off either side as well, so it kind of comes around. A lot of tarps that aren't as big, you'll just be pinning it off on 2 points, just either side. And if you've got yourself a lovely rain jacket, which is also a tarp that I've used on plenty of occasions, you can just lay that one across like so, and you've just got yourself something to keep yourself off of the ground. And this tarp setup, it's lovely, it's spacious. If you wish to have a little bit more height, you can just raise your main point off. And yeah, like I say, this is a really great one. This tarp is so big that I can even have an underlayer if I wish. And yeah, like I said, like in any forestry, anywhere where you've got even just a single hiking pole, you can do a nice simple plough point. Yeah, really great setup. For this next one, you're going to want to find yourself a stick, a nice bit of line, bit of cord, whatever you want to call it, and a lovely pair of socks. Usually if you go hiking or anything like that and you're doing an overnighter, a couple of days, whatever you want to call it, a hike through, you're going to have yourselves a spare pair of socks with you, and that's absolutely great because that's just going to go over the top of that and just protect the tarp, basically, just to ensure if you do get a stick like this that has a little couple of splinters, possible splinters, so on and so forth, that it just protects the tarp from that. Again, you have a lot of variations of this that I've seen a lot of different people use and that I've used before with different types of tarps. Usually you'll pin them off at the edges. Me, I'm going to pin them off just here, a little bit in, and the reason being is that I can use a little bit of that as a ground sheet on the inside. So now that the back's pinned off, we're just going to wrap the socks over there. Really nice if you've got some clean socks for that. And then we're just going to go a little bit in, depending on how high you wish to have it. Say about 1 meter's fine, 1/2 meter, quarter, you do you. And then we're just going to wrap another extendable hoop around there. And we're just going to pin it off just below the camera there. And when you've pinned these front 2 bits off, you've got yourself a lovely tent formation. As I said before, I like to leave myself a nice ground sheet, and there's a little bit to the side there what I can use to put my bag on. I've done a few different variations of this, many different variations of this. I will add a little clip or 2 of those in. We have tonight's tarp tent set up. Just gonna pop around and inside. So this is my tarp, but as you can see, we have plenty of room to lie down, and I'm lying fully down there. And in the morning, I'm going to wake up to that view. I mean, can you beat that? As you can see, this bit you can tie off. I like to leave it there during the night, but then tie it out during the day. You've just got a bit more of a ability to view different things. but this is a really great setup, especially for people that are just getting used to using a tarp. So if you're going from tent to tarp, this is an absolute brilliant one. Can see plenty of space for 2, maybe 3 smaller people in there. This one here is technically called an arrowhead. I like to call it a Bilbo Baggins. It's like a lovely little hobbit house. What you're going to do is get a kind of diamond formation there. You're going to pin off the back corner. Mine is slightly to the side of that, just because mine is my top here isn't an actual rectangle. It has one side that's just slightly cut inwards. I've got one stick over here that I've already tied off to the ground there. I've pegged off the back piece there in the corner. We're just going to pop that hook into there. Going to kind of find our balance nicely there. And then we're going to get this one here and we're going to peg that off. And again, when you're doing that, you're just recalibrating. So you may need to bring that a little left, a little right. Then we're going to get us another peg and we're going to pin this one just over here. So this one again, great, you've got loads of space. You can bring them in slightly, make it more of an arrow formation. But yeah, I call it a hobbit house because obviously, as you can see, you've got a lot of length, but not much in height. But what I do love about this, you can have a nice fire just to the side of there, just here. That'll keep you obviously nice and warm throughout. As I said before, my top's very large, so I can use that little bit at the back. I can even drop a little bit in from that side if I wish, just to make a ground sheet. Or of course you can use a rain jacket as I've shown before, or a secondary tarp. You know, a lot of people take like inflatable mattresses. Yeah, this is one of my absolute top ones. This is probably my go-to, if I'm being honest. Usually if I'm using my very favorite, I'll pin that one off and drop that underneath just to make an extra ground sheet, which is shown on one of my recent camping videos. Now that I brought that one in a little bit closer, it does resemble much more of an arrowhead. As I said, you can like adjust like any tarp formation. What's brilliant about tarp is you can adjust them. It's not like a rigid system. When you see a tarp set up maybe online or on Google, whatever you're looking at, you might often think, well, it doesn't look exactly like that. It doesn't have to, you know, it's kind of adjustable, and most of them are just named after shapes. So you're just kind of going for that, you know, A-frame, diamond, like, you know, you really don't need to overthink it. You don't need to be spot on. You just need something that's going to be stable, that's going to keep you out of the elements, going to keep you dry for the night, and it's just going to be a lovely chilled night for you, you know. One thing that well, not one thing, many things that I love about tarp camping: you get to see the stars, you get to kind of be more in tune with nature. If you're in a tent, you're kind of a bit more enclosed. I feel like, yeah, it's just so, for me personally, it's so much better to be in a tarp or under a tarp, let's say, rather than a tent. Even just having a fire, the ability to keep warm, yeah, so many pros. I mean, there are probably a couple of cons for people depending on your perspective of different things, but for me personally, a tarp is the best way to camp. If this is the type of thing that you'd like to see more of, do let me know. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll through a few photos of different tarp setups that I've done over the years that I think are pretty cool, unique, or so on and so forth. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.